So guys, I'm back with another video. This is the fight against poverty. Ways other countries have alleviated poverty by me, of course, Nikita Smith Jr. And as you can see, I got some artwork back there. That's my emoji. And yeah, we just gonna dive right in. This is gonna be a great video. I'm very excited about it. Did a lot of research, worked hard on it overnight, and ready to get into it. So let's see what we got here in this video. On to the next slide. Let's go, next slide. So with this, we're gonna be talking about Brazil and their Familia program. And as you can see, I got the artwork and I got a little graph here at the bottom. But we're gonna dive right in. Get my I'm gonna get my red pointer. Brazil's Bolsa Familia program has been encouraging in this regard. Beginning in the 20th, the program has made modest cash grants to poor families who sent their kids to school and the doctor. The country's poverty rate fell from 26.1% in 2003 to 14.1% in 2009. It says it got cut off. Oh, there it is. The extreme poverty rate fell from 10.0 to 4.8%. From 2007 to 2009, Bolsa Familia led to an estimated 59% of the reduction in poverty and 140% of the reduction in extreme poverty. The Gini coefficient, a measure of inequality, fell from 0.580 to 0.538 from 2003 to 2009, in part due to Bosnia Familia. Now, however, the Brazilian government has been cutting those benefits even as coronavirus pandemic spreads. So they're cutting those benefits, and obviously is what they were doing, paying those cash grants to poor families, was working. And that program has been around for quite a while. And as you can see the graph, it's really helping. It's really helping. As you can see, the gauntlet making the snap with the infinity stones, it could be going like that. So this is just an example I brought for you guys. I heard about this program a while ago, and I thought it was interesting to give people those grants, cash grants to the poor families. You know, they can send their kids to school and the doctor. So it's just extra money to help alleviate poverty. So that's a good way. That's a good way to fight it. And with that, we're gonna go on to the next slide. So this is the next slide, and as you can see, my resources are .org. In contrast, most European countries and Canada provide a wide range of social insurance programs that largely prevent families from falling into poverty. These include substantial family or children's allowances, which are designed to transfer cash assistance to families with children. In addition, unemployment assistance is far more generous in these countries than in the United States. Furthermore, universal health coverage is routinely provided along with considerable support for child care. And that's very good. The result of these social policy differences is that they substantially reduce the extent of poverty in Europe and Canada, while American social policy, exerts only a small impact upon poverty reduction. As economic Rebecca Blank notes, the national choice in the United States to provide relatively less generous transfers to low-income families has meant higher relative poverty rates in the country, while low-income families in the United States work more than in many other countries. They are not able to make up for lower governmental income support relative to their European counterparts. And yeah, that these like Europe and Canada, they're offering more programs and support like for childcare. That's great. You know, the United States may do something, but it at some point it's not enough, and it should be more, and they should take note from these other countries. This is why I'm doing this video, so we can understand how other countries offer these programs and the support that you need. And hopefully Congress starts to recognize that it's not enough, especially during COVID. They can do far more, and they should take note from these countries. But we're gonna go on to the next slide. And this is the next slide. To help the poor, we must know who they are, the paper said. During its poverty alleviation practices, China has developed a set of standards and procedures to accurately identify the poor, the cause of their poverty, and their needs. These were summarized as targeted efforts in 6 areas, referring to efforts to identify the poor accurately, arrange targeted programs, utilize capital efficiently, take household-based measures, dispatch first-party secretaries based on village conditions, and achieve the set of goals. I'm going to turn on this pointer for y'all. Sorry about that. For instance, poor households are identified primarily based on their incomes, with consideration given to other factors including housing, education, and health, while for villages, consideration is given to the incidence of poverty, the per capita net income of villagers, and income from businesses run by village collectives. The individuals and villages confirmed as poor were then registered, and a national poverty alleviation information system was created. Through this registration system, for the first time in history of poverty alleviation, China has identified every poor individual in every village, the paper said. And that's good. If you identify these people, that you can create ways to help them. So this is very good. As you can see, his surprised face, like that's excellent. If you identify every poor person, whether it's in rural or urban, that's a start. If you're doing it somewhere, you can start in other places. So that's very good, and hopefully other countries take notice of this and how they did it. And we're gonna read more about the what they did, what China did, as far as alleviating poverty, how they cut it from $1 to $2 per day, and we're gonna get into that on the next slide. This is the next slide, and as you can see, I got Kingpin right there. We talking big business. We talking about Kingpin, and I designed that myself. I think through Pixar, but here we go. Earlier this year, China's government announced that it had eradicated absolute poverty measured against a standard equivalent to $2.30 per day applied to rural areas. The latest household survey on income, expenditure, and living conditions data by China National Bureau of Statistics available for the year 2018 suggests that against an international poverty line of $1.90 per day, the poverty rate had declined to below 0.5%. This suggests China has reduced the number of poor people by close to 800 million since 1980. Whatever the specific number, China poverty reduction is a remarkable achievement. Yet it cannot be the end of China's effort as the country looks to the 2020s. What lessons can the authorities learn from the past 40 years, and what should be the focus of the policy? And as you can see, that's fantastic. These statistics are fantastic, and it's still not enough. So it's a lot of work with this fight against poverty. And like I said in the previous slide, hopefully other countries can really look at this and be like, man, we can try some of these things, or we can apply some of these things to our methods and make it better and make it more sound. And I know I will be paying attention to it. As you can see, it caught my eye, and that's great. Whether it's rural or urban, whatever, it's great. If you're reducing a poverty in any country, that's a step. That's a great step, especially during these times during coronavirus. And we're gonna listen to a couple videos later in this presentation. Hopefully you guys like them. One is 6 minutes, one is a minute and 20 seconds. So we're gonna get to it. On to the next slide. In this slide, we're gonna look at what Canada's doing during COVID-19. And this is recent, 4 days ago, as of today, and today is the 11th. We're gonna get into it. I just searched Canada's economic support system during COVID. The Canada Recovery Sickness Benefit provides $500, $450 after taxes withheld per week for up to the maximum of 6 weeks for workers who are unable to work for at least 50% of the week because they contracted COVID-19, are self-isolated for reasons related to COVID-19. So if you are a family member, you got to take care of them. You can get this benefit, and that's great because a lot of times some jobs don't give paid sick leave, and this benefit is a way to alleviate from falling into poverty, from losing out on money. So I like that, and I mentioned Canada earlier. What are their certain programs that give benefits, and this is a recovery sickness benefit, and it's great. I like it a lot. This picture I got up here, I'm gonna use the pointer. Um, it's from a B.O.B. album. It's I forgot the title of it. I think it's Elements, and no, I don't think it's Elements. I'm not gonna, but it is from one of his albums, and he had a nice out, and I edited it. And it's just a testing ground to try out new things. You know, the earth is a testing ground to try out new things. That's what I was trying to represent this picture the best way I can. You know, it's a testing ground to try out new things, man. We just gotta try new things. We gotta learn from each other, whether it's different ethnicities, and whatever our difference is, we gotta learn from each other to better each other. So on to the next slide, and we're gonna go into more about what Canada's doing during COVID. So this is Canada's official website, the government's official website, and the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit provides $300 a week to eligible workers who are unable to work due to temporary local lockdown anytime between October 24th, 2021 and May 7th, 2022. The benefit is only available when a COVID-19 lockdown order is designated for your region. So it has to be designated in your region. And I think some regions are locked down in Canada as of the past couple of days. That's why they made the order. You know why they made this available, this benefit available. And clicked on Canada Recovery Sickness Benefit. The Canada Recovery Sickness Benefit provides $500 to $450 after taxes withheld per week for up to a maximum of 6 weeks for workers who are unable to work for at least 50% of the week because they contracted COVID-19, are self-isolated for reasons related to COVID-19, have underlying conditions, are undergoing treatments, or have contracted other sicknesses that, in the opinion of a medical practitioner, nurse practitioner, person in authority, government, or health authority, would make them more susceptible to COVID-19. So that could be any sicknesses like the flu that could lead to COVID-19. You're off work because of that, and you could get this benefit. So that's a good thing for the Canada government to introduce to their economy for these the recovery sicknesses benefit that would help alleviate them during their time off work for sickness. You know, whether it's COVID or the flu or someone that catches it, you know, in your household, and it could really help. So with that, I clicked on supporting low income workers and families. The Canada Workers Benefit provides a refundable tax credit to help people who are working and earning a low income. we are expanding eligibility by making the benefits available to those with incomes up to 32 32,244 as a single Canadian without children, 42,197 as a single earner family, and 56,197 as double earner families. Low income workers are now eligible for a tax refund of up to about 1,400 for workers who are single and without children, and 2,400 for workers with families. So that's good. So if you're making up to that and under, you're gonna get this benefit, which is a very nice payout. 2,000 2,400. That's great. It doesn't say if this is a per week or definitely not per week, probably per month, more than likely. And this is good. And I guess it ends May 7th, 2022. That's what I'm guessing. So that's great. That's great for a family to have during that time. If you're not making up to a certain point, you're going to get this money. For low income workers, that's a great way as a safety net for people to keep balance in the economy while COVID-19 is around. And it's great for supporting low income workers. I think it's amazing that they're doing this. 2,400 for workers with families, that's a month. That's great. That's fantastic. Even as a one-time payment, that's good if it's a one-time payment, but I doubt it. It doesn't say when that benefit is going to end, or what how long is in place, but either way it goes is great. Is a one-time payment, or if they're doing it monthly. If they're doing it monthly, that's great. That's great. All this is in place so you won't slip into poverty, which I like. I like a lot, and it's going to help a lot of people stay afloat during this time. So I did further research, and turns out we're going to read overview of the Canada Workers Benefit. The Canada's Workers Benefit is refundable tax credit to help individuals and families who are working and earning a low income. The CWB has two parts, a basic amount and a disability supplement. You can claim the CWB when you file your income tax return. Eligibility individual Eligible individuals and families can get up to half of the CWB in advance payments instead of waiting for tax time. So you can get these before tax time, which is good, just like the child tax credit. And it's again a good way to help people in need at that moment before tax time instead of waiting for it. So this is great. This is great. I like it. And as we said, it was 2,400, and the other amount was 1,000 something. You can get half of that. That's great. It's great. I don't see a problem with it. It's a way to help. That's all you can wish for when you're in need is help. So Canada's doing their job. I like it. But on to the next slides. These next slides are videos. Hope you guys like them.
I think it was a very hollow response. I think they could have done more and done more immediately.
3 of the 60 staff at Barbarian's Steakhouse in Toronto have recently tested positive for COVID, forcing it to shut down on Tuesday for at least 10 days during what was gearing up to be a busy holiday season. Aaron Barbarian, who runs the restaurant that's been a fixture since 1959, says nearly 2 years into this pandemic, it's saddled with debts and obligations like rent and utilities. The extra federal support is a lifeline, but because it's structured as a rebate, the money won't flow until February.
We need them to come and help us right now. So once again, we're probably going to dip into family savings to keep everybody afloat. It's a very, very difficult time.
New federal dollars will be made available to employers dealing with capacity restrictions of 50% They have to show revenue declines of at least 25%, and eligible employers can get wage and rent subsidies ranging from 25 to 75%. There's also expanded support for workers who previously weren't eligible because there are no official lockdowns in place. So the service, entertainment, and hospitality industries are struggling to reduce customers and income because of new and ongoing restrictions to the business and needs served. Broader lockdown benefits will now apply to workers in areas with capacity restrictions of 50% or more. Benefit is $300 a week for those who've lost 50% or more of their income until May. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce is calling on Ottawa to let businesses know about repayment terms for federal loans, which remain a question mark after last week's fiscal update. These are businesses are capped at their, maxed out on their debt. They don't have those reserves anymore that they may have had earlier in the pandemic. For establishments like Barbarians, this wave is a brutal reminder that with the pandemic's impact on health comes a fresh toll on financial survival too. And Viola, Global News, Toronto.
As you can see, they're doing a lot. Canada's doing a lot, so they're getting $300 per week. Some workers making 50% of their income, so that's pretty nice. That's pretty generous of Canada. And we seen the one tax credit that they get, and they can get half of that up until tax time. And again, this is another way that they're trying to do something. I don't know if this is the same, but I don't think it is. But they just said they can do it weekly, and that's even more fantastic. If you could do it weekly, that's great. And if a government can do that weekly, that's fantastic. It's very generous, especially during this time. And as you can see, I got up here, eliminate poverty now. The guy said at the beginning, we need relief now. And he was saying how they didn't do relief for the businesses right away. And that can have an impact on a community. Like some people depend on those restaurants or little convenience stores to get things. So it's really important that they get that to the businesses as well. And they're doing a lot for the businesses. That's their economy. They're going to do all they can for the economy as well as the people in the economy. So that's great on Canada's part. And I got another video for us to watch. It's about 6 minutes long. Hope you guys can stay tuned for it. It's a great video.
Another bumper crop for Mi Jiazi. Its forest business has blossomed over the past few years. So much that it can now afford a brick house, a sign of wealth in Baojiu, a rural county in central China. He says all of this was made possible by government assistance. Village officials and the government were very helpful in poverty alleviation. They had to develop the orchards. Orchard is our main source of income here, and they supported it well. I can earn up to 5,000 euros a year right now. Li is the shining example of China's goal to eradicate extreme poverty by 2021. In 2014, President Xi Jinping announced relief strategies to aid the poor. Government officials went door to door to assess household income and provided aid.
So, as you just heard, he was happy with 5,000 euros a year. That help is great. That help is fantastic. You could just see it. He just said, I can make 5,000 euros. That's great. So back to the video.
Now, Beijing says it achieved its target. Almost 100 million rural impoverished population have been lifted out of poverty. We finished the hazardous task of eradicating absolute poverty, creating another incredible miracle.
That's great. He's making a claim. I think that's on the president of China, or however you want to phrase that. He's claiming that they eradicated poverty, and that's great. That's a great thing. So let's hear the rest of the video.
Yeah, but some critics say Xi's official version isn't the full story. They say his government set the poverty threshold too low. Here in Beijing, some farmers who have officially escaped poverty still struggle.
So they set the threshold too low, meaning you have to make very little to get some of this relief that they're doing. So that's another thing. So what this getting ready to say in this is they eradicated poverty in rural areas, meaning farmland and stuff, not urban areas. But at least they're doing something. Let's continue watching the video.
He says his harvest has not improved despite government aid to diversify his home. I have two sons who go outside when they're free. They can earn some money to sustain our living. I'm nearly 70 and my wife is over 60. We cannot work like this. And his family of 5 wish to move to a better home like others they know. But for now, they have to stay in this wooden house which does little to keep them warm. The 57-year-old still hopes that one day his farm will bring them the wealth he has long wished for. Joining us is John Donaldson of Singapore Management University. John, when Beijing says it has eradicated poverty, what does that mean, and is it an accurate statement? Well, there were two important words that Xi Jinping said when he made that the announcement recently, declaring victory. One was rural, so it has nothing to do with urban poverty, and the other one was,
like I was saying, is focusing on rural. That's what he was going at, the president. But it's still something, It's still something. Like I said earlier in the slides, they are identifying these people, which is very good, and they have a nice way to identify and have a system to identify them, and that's what's important, that they can identify these people, because most people in the United States, some of those people are going unidentified. They probably don't even know the whole total amount of people that are homeless and in extreme poverty. So let's continue this video. Absolute poverty. So what they're claiming is that, in terms of a relatively low poverty line, that is what the entire population is under. Now, is it true? I don't know any serious scholar who thinks that China has, even in terms of absolute rural poverty, has eradicated poverty. Has China made a humongous leap forward? Has it made a contribution? That is very, very likely to be true. And so what more does the country need to do in its fight against, you mentioned rural versus urban. I don't know if you want to focus on one over the other, and of course the growing inequality divide there. And those are 3 very, very important issues. All 3 of them are very difficult to tackle, and you have to tackle them differently. In terms of rural poverty, China should not be letting their foot off the gas. The fear is that by declaring victory over poverty, people, including many Chinese people, will think, oh, that means that we've eliminated poverty. When what they really have done is, if their claims are true, eliminated the most severe forms of poverty. There are still poor people in rural China today, and so they need to keep their foot on the pedal. Urban poverty is very different because you're talking about the layoffs and other kinds of things that thrust working people into poverty, standards of living, and so very, very different kinds of tools that you would need to attack urban poverty as opposed to rural. And of course, they're linked because much of the urban poverty are folks who are coming in from the countryside looking for work and other things like that. And so by reducing rural poverty, in some ways what you're doing is shifting it from the rural areas into the cities. Now we stand. So I like what he said right there. They're shifting the poverty into urban areas now, because people are gonna go to cities to find jobs if it's not working out in the rural areas. So you kind of shift that poverty when you don't have work for the people that are coming into the urban area. So that's something to look at too. But again, they're doing a good job, as we seen earlier in the video. They're doing a really good job.
Around this a little bit, but how much of this is driven by propaganda, the need to sort of spread certain messages?
Well, I take it on two different levels. I do think Xi Jinping is taking poverty seriously. I think Xi Jinping really should be applauded for taking poverty seriously. Nobody is suggesting that this is pure propaganda in the sense that they're just cooking the books. And down in local China, in rural China, when I have a chance to visit, which I do basically every year that there's not a pandemic around, I can see that local government officials are taking it very seriously. On the other side, Xi Jinping had to bring it down to zero. As soon as he made the pledge in 2015, that they were going to announce success.
And just to put this in context, how are other countries in the region doing compared to China?
Gonna hold that thought. I like what he said right there. The president Xi Jinping, he claimed that he would do something about poverty, and he did. I like that. Whereas in the United States, they make certain promises and they don't fulfill them. As he said, they're taking it very seriously. They made a whole system to identify these people, and that's a start. That's a start. It's good to me. It's good enough for me. It would be good enough for my eyes if I lived in China. It's good for me, and other countries should take note of that. As we seen that they lifted 800 million people out of poverty or reduced it a lot. So let's continue this video. She's asking, how do other countries compare to China?
Based on metrics you go by.
Well, the truth is, every country struggles with poverty. From Singapore to Germany to America, and so poverty is something that really humanity cannot let it cannot stop paying attention to. We will always have to be dealing with poverty, at least for the foreseeable future. In terms of countries nearby, countries like Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, all are struggling. Unfortunately, the worldwide poverty rate is going down,
right.
But much of that is actually generated by China.
Don Donaldson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So yeah, that was a great video. I liked it a lot. They explained a lot, the good and some of the bad. They shifting poverty to the urban areas now, but like I said, it's a start. And I like this picture I got here. I didn't edit this one. I probably can if I wanted to, but it has poverty right there, and it's the guys erasing it off the street or cleaning it up off the street. That's a good metaphor. And it's still there, as you can see. POV is still there, and you can say the point of view is still there. You know what I'm saying? It's still there, but the point is that we're trying to erase it. So that's the connection I made by throwing that picture in there. And I believe I have one more slide, but this may be it. This may be